Welcome back to Potions class. Today we are making the even better golden milk latte recipe for optimal potency and maximum cognitive enhancement. The first recipe mostly focused on getting rid of the inflammation with our NF-κB genes. Turn off the NF-κB, and we wanted to turn on the NRF2, which is our 200 protective genes that are going to help repair the damage that we had from all of the inflammation, right? Now we're gonna step up the recipe with actual cognitive enhancement with the things that are actually going to build and enhance the nervous system. Okay, let's get into it and let's grab my notes so I don't mess anything up. Okay, so let's do our upgraded recipe. Today, here's Caduceus, just chatting in the background. Okay, now I've got the mic on. Slow start today, but let's get into it. So we're going to do the upgraded, better tier of the magical cognitive potion that is the golden milk latte, or golden milk for short, say what you want. And if I didn't say it in the last video, this of course originated in India. Its original name is haldi, but of course we call it golden milk in America. So basically what we've got is some fresh ingredients. I've got ginger and turmeric here, and we're gonna get into the science of why I have ginger and turmeric in their fresh form. But we're actually gonna do a split tier here. So both of these different versions of the golden milk latte that I'm gonna make right now are going to be upgraded versions, right? But one is going to be more fresh ingredients, and one is going to be some more dry ingredients, and we'll get into it. So basically what you need to know is for this powder that I've made, this is an excellent mix of the golden milk latte, kind of based on the same recipe that I did last time, but of course this is a bulk mix, so I can grab a tablespoon, 2 if I'm feeling a little dumb that day, and I can mix it into my milk. I usually add some fresh ginger, crack some fresh black pepper, and then that is good to go because I've got excellent stuff in here. But you can also do more fresh ingredients and have different or even better benefits. So for this thing right here, I'm gonna give you the recipe. So this is gonna be 6 1/4 cups of turmeric powder, 3 cups of coconut milk powder, 2.5 cups of lion's mane extract, not just powdered lion's mane mushroom. You want this extracted already for the best usage. Lion's mane powder, like the powdered mushroom, can be fine, but if that's all you can find, make sure that you're getting the fruiting body and not just the grain that it's grown on. A lot of them will do that and be like, this is lion's mane because it has mycelium attached to the grain, but that mycelium isn't the part that you want to be eating, and because it's growing on the grain, most of what you're getting is just like grain with a hint of shroom in it, and not even the part of the mushroom that you want. So make sure you're getting lion's mane extract, right? And then that's going to be 1 1/4 cups of mucuna powder and 5 tablespoons of black pepper, if you're doing dry black pepper. But again, don't even do that. So if you were going to do it for the mix, which I did the first time, sure, 5 tablespoons black pepper, right? But like I said, when you want to upgrade this, in which you should every time, you're going to want that black pepper cracked fresh in the drink every single time, because that is what is going to give you that bioavailability. And then of course the fat is going to give you the solubility, so the bioavailability even matters, right? So that's basically what I've got here. So the lion's mane extract is doing a lot of heavy lifting with cognitive enhancement. So let's get deeper into the science of that. So lion's mane has 2 categories of beneficial compounds. We've got the water-soluble beta-glucans, right? These are polysaccharides that support immune function. They've got anti-inflammatory properties, which again, excellent. And you can extract these with hot water, right? So if you're making like a lion's mane tea, sure, those are things that you would absolutely get out of that. But it also has the alcohol-soluble stuff, which is the quercetin and arenosines, and these are neurogenic compounds that are going to cross the blood-brain barrier, and they're going to stimulate nerve growth factor production. And you extract those with the alcohol, right? So if you just get dry lion's mane powder and put it in some hot water, you're only going to get the beta-glucans. You're going to miss all of these neurogenic compounds, so like the things that are literally building new things that you did not have before to create a better brain that will function better than it did previously. So you're not just taking down inflammation with these new ingredients such as the lion's mane. You're actually having new things be created within your brain that are going to allow you to think clearer, think faster. You know, everything that a better brain might do for you, that is going to happen because you can literally grow that stuff if you didn't even have it before, just by properly taking this stuff. The hericenones, I think, hericenones, I might be saying that. I should have done this beforehand. I don't know. I tried to rush to this because I was like so tired. But the hericenones and the arenosines in lion's mane directly stimulate NFG, which is the nerve growth factor in the brain, right? So NFG is a protein that is going to tell your brain to grow new neurons, maintain existing neurons. It's going to help you build new dendrites, which are the branching connections between the neurons. So you get all these new neurons, and then you're actually going to connect those neurons together to make it so that you can do things up here, right? And then it's going to repair damage that you've had to your neural tissue, right? So a lot of people don't realize that they are actively living with brain damage, because when we think of brain damage, we think of like, you know, like somebody that is either like in a comatose state, maybe like, you know, somebody whose brain really isn't working. They might even be on life support or something. But brain damage can happen, you know, it's a spectrum, it's a wide spectrum. And it's actually been proven that on the standard American diet, bad food can give you noticeable brain damage within 3 days of eating. So if you normally have an okay diet, or any diet that you have, if you are eating normally, and then you have like a bad week of eating, or you start eating stuff you don't normally eat, and this is like worse food than usual, you can see damage in your brain in 3 days because of just the crap in this food. Like, it's insane. Bad stuff. So brain damage can just be from stuff like that, but you can also get brain damage from like childhood trauma, from having a shitty boss who used to yell at you a lot, you know, from not sleeping right, from not getting enough light. Like, we don't realize often how many things genuinely damage our brain to the point where a doctor could like look at us and be like, oh yeah, there's something wrong there, you know? So it is very important. Keep hitting the mic. Let me see, maybe I'll just put it down. So like, it's very important to be actively doing these things that repair damage and will build new dendrites, new neurons that will allow you to actually be even better than you were before. Because you don't just have to, like, you don't only have the ability to get back to baseline. You have the ability to be better than ever, better than anybody ever thought that you could be, better than you even ever imagined your mind could work. Because you can literally build those new connections, right? And so the black pepper that we have, just like in the last video, like I said, black pepper is amazing. Black pepper is a super potent ingredient. So the black pepper is also going to enhance our lion's mane's ability to build new neurons and dendrites and connect them to each other while repairing all the damage from all that bullshit that we went through, right? So the hericenones and the arenosines are also kind of like difficult to absorb, right? they're very complex molecules, and the pepperin is going to inhibit the same enzymes that would break them down before they cross into your bloodstream, right? And then into your brain. So let's start on the first version of the upgraded recipe here. I don't know where to put the mic. I hope you can hear me. Do I put it on the milk or something? Why not? Hey. Okay, so okay, so what do we have here? Or no, I'm gonna use the milk actually. Oh yeah. So this jar I'm using just because it's got the measurements, and I need to pour. I'm gonna start with 1,600 milliliters of liquid into this bigger jar where I'm going to cook this mix that I'm making for my mom. I'm gonna try to make her like a week's worth of some cognitive improvement potion, right? Alright, I mean, I use plant milk because I'm a vegan, but also, I don't know, I think it works. And it's got a little bit of fat in it, not much. It's honestly mostly water. But there's something about having milk, like a plant milk, instead of just straight water. It does help things like mix a bit more. Like the water, while it can work, it just you know, it's just not as good of a drink, and it doesn't seem to, I don't know, like yeah, it just doesn't mix properly. And traditionally you're either using coconut milk or water. Water honestly doesn't work as well unless you have a very significant amount of coconut milk powder in there for your fat source, but also the coconut milk powder doesn't mix very well in water alone. So you're best off picking a milk that you like. I like almond milk, not too many calories, and I don't know, I just like almond milk. Coconut milk I like too, but it does have like a very strong flavor, and it is more calories. Which usually I don't care about, but I try to drink a significant amount of this, especially right now where I'm trying to like repair my mind, and I'm in class right now and I gotta take tests and all that stuff. So I try to make it as smooth of an experience as possible. So let's see, right now we've got 900 milliliters. Okay, maybe a little bit more. I also love this brand because specifically this organic version of this milk, it's just 4 ingredients. It's just like almonds, I think salt and maybe some sugar, water, organic almonds, organic vanilla extract, sea salt. You know, so I don't, I use that because simple ingredients, none of that is going to interact negatively with any of the chemicals in our ingredients. So it's, you know, solid vehicle to take you there. Okay, we've got our milk, so now we're going to add some of my pre-mix. Since I put approximately 1,600-ish milliliters in here, that is gonna be about enough liquid for like 3 dosages, right? So I'm gonna take 3 or 4 tablespoons of this. And, you know, it's not Oxycontin, so you can, you wanna take some more, take some more. Okay, so we've got this in here. I've got my silicone little mini spatula that I use for stirring because, like I said, we can have metal interaction. Metal can interact negatively with some of our ingredients here. And I just like to stir it in a little to get started, but obviously this isn't going to mix in very well until we have some heat added to it. But you can see we're kind of getting there. Alright, powders are done. That's why I like to have my premix powder that I made. because it is, it's just easy. And then we've got our fresh cracked black pepper. This is, let's see, for one dosage, we did a 1/4 teaspoon of black pepper, which I did about like 3 cracks of this. So I'm just gonna go ham for a minute. And don't worry, on the second version of the recipe, I'm gonna have like precise measurements and stuff. Okay, so let's increase that bioavailability. And with the black pepper and stuff too, like if it's cracking, like when you're cracking it, sometimes it's kind of chunky and stuff. So after you like cooked it up and it's done its thing with once you've applied heat and mixed it in and it's extracted into itself, you can filter the pepper out. It just needs to get within the liquid, the pepperin, and then all the other little bits and pieces that are in there. Yeah, I mean, you don't have to have them in your drink. Totally take that stuff out. And I usually do. And you know what? I've noticed a little trick lately. So, we're gonna add some fresh ginger. So that's one of our upgrades here. And I will talk to you about the ginger. So, one thing about the ginger that I thought was really awesome is that recently, like when you have like the peel on something, it has different nutrients than the inside. And often those nutrients are very beneficial, but we often don't consume them because, eating a peel of something can be difficult, gross, hard to get down. But something that I've noticed, and I don't know the science behind this, I should have looked it up before I made this video, maybe I'll put it in the comments or something, is that when I leave the peel on the ginger and then add it to this, and I've cooked it, and then I strain everything out, it's like totally emulsified. Whereas if you don't do that, even if you have ginger, but it's like you peeled it and you put it in there, I noticed there's often like so much sediment like toward the bottom, and you have to like stir it every time, stir it as you're drinking, which I didn't like. It was kind of annoying, but I didn't mind. It was like, whatever, I guess this is just how I drink this. But adding like the ginger like that is kind of cool. So for our multi-serving batch of this, to get some good effects from this fresh ginger, we are going to want at least 1 ounce of ginger. You can of course do more. The ginger, when you drink it, especially with the black pepper, it can get a little spicy. So that is up to you how much more that you want to put. But, at least 1 ounce for a multi-serving drink. I'm going to put some more because I don't mind it, and it makes my whole body buzz, and I like that. So this fresh ginger is going to give us like peak gingerol content with no degradation. And fresh ginger has a sharper and more pungent flavor because the volatile compounds haven't evaporated yet. So that strong taste lets us know that we're getting some goods in there. And I'm going to crush this with my knife. I like to try to pulverize it, and then I'll put like some slits in there. And I don't want to chop. I don't chop it personally into like fine bits or anything. I mostly just smash it, so it's just one kind of like messy glob. You'll see, and I'll drop that whole glob in there. That makes it easier to strain out, so that it's not a bunch of like little tiny bits in your drink. This one. Do I want to add these bits? Alright, so we've got our messy glob of ginger. I'm just chopping it a little more just to have, some more little cuts and stuff where the gingerol can release into our liquid base. So you see, like, this is just like mostly giant chunks, so it just makes the straining process easier. Dump that right in there. Stir, stir, stir. Okay, well, all this has to do now is cook and extract into the liquid, and then we are good. And that is ready to drink. Strain it, pour, drink, and you're good to go. So that is our first upgraded version of the golden milk latte. We've got the fresh ginger, so it's going to have a higher content of gingerol that hasn't degraded at all, because we do get shogalls in the powdered ginger, but it has degraded a little over time because of the powdering process. Whereas fresh ginger, you're not going to get as much shugol, but you are going to get very premium gingerol.